Story 1, I lay down and soon was flooded by the most intensely bright white light filled with the most awesome power and love in the universe. In the light I heard the thunderous fluttering winds and the most beautiful sounds of angels' voices singing louder than the thunderous winds. My body was becoming paralyzed with the power of the light. The love was overwhelming to me. I was terrified of losing control over my bodily functions. Desire to be in control, desire itself, movement, thought, everything human was dying in this light. When it swallowed me whole, an explosion of ecstasy and love started from my belly and expanded into the light itself. Soon I became the light and became innocence, love, ecstasy, peace, power, and beauty and wisdom of the light. Like a mother carrying a child in her arms, the light carried me upwards and at tremendous speed. The light itself spoke to me and I knew it was God, the power that created the whole universe. The light told me this first clear light heaven I was in, which was 1,000,000 times brighter than any love I ever felt on earth, was filled with countless paradise planets. I looked down at my body and it was made of white light but still had a luminous human form. I spent some time there but was taken higher, where the joy and glory of God was crushing me to the point that I could not bear the ecstasy any longer. Thus I exploded into a new light and glory of innocence, love, ecstasy, peace, power, and wisdom 1,000,000 times brighter than the first heaven was. My new body was brighter and clearer and could somehow withstand this exponential increase in glory. I was told this second heaven was filled with countless paradise planets. In each ascending heaven, the glory of these qualities in the light multiplied another 1,000,000 times. It is inconceivable how bright and beautiful life is in these heavens to any mind alone, separate from this light. I was taken to the point where the ecstasy and love were so overwhelming, I could barely stand the levels of cosmic energy and ecstasy any longer. I exploded into a new light 1,000,000 times brighter than the second heaven, thus the third heaven. Here my body was still human, but so much white light shining from it I could not believe my eyes. I could see for millions of miles with perfect clarity. The sounds of the angels singing was so beautiful and thunderous and glorious above me, I felt as if their sound vibrations were filled with wisdom, so sophisticated, that these sound vibrations were actually creating life and myriad possibilities in the universe, that angelic sounds were not just singing for the fun of it alone, but were creating with sounds. I sped through this third heaven and was taken into the fourth where the glory of God was so bright. I felt any being here was beyond even inconceivable glory. My body was so bright here that it had little remains of the human form. The glory was so bright and filled with these qualities. I told God, I can't take any more. You are far greater than I ever imagined God to be by inconceivable measure. Whole galaxies of energy could be created by this light. I asked God to not take me higher, but God did. At this point, because the glory was so bright and beyond my abilities, this amazing quality, descending down from the even brighter light above me. I do not think there are any planets up here, but perhaps beings live inside of stars here. The grace of God, the most beautiful and poetic quality of God, came down like millions of leaves falling in harmony, and stilled and purified the ecstasy and glory to the point that I could bear it. I could write a whole chapter on grace and not do it justice. Then I was taken into the fifth heaven. My body was now like a giant sun. It had no human form anymore. The glory here was unspeakable. What goes on here is truly unbelievable for human beings. I stayed there for some time and was taken into the sixth heaven, which is 1,000,000 times brighter than the fifth. I will not speak about how bright God is here. The angels were singing so loud that no human ears could hear this music of the universe. My body was an even brighter sun merged into the central light of God. I was then taken into the seventh heaven, and what happens there is so far beyond my abilities, God brought me down. I only lasted 10 seconds in the seventh heaven. Whole galaxies could be created with the light there with total ease. Any beings that can go there are millions of years more evolved than I am. To think that in each of these higher heavens, the light and glory of innocence, love, ecstasy, peace, power, beauty, grace, and wisdom multiplies 1,000,000 times over the preceding heaven, makes it so difficult to pass through and live in. This story was shared by David and happened in 1986.
Story 2. The last thing I remember was the car was about to crash into the concrete barrier and thinking we were going to die. Suddenly, I was no longer in the car. I was in a black void. Everything, the walls, the ceiling, the floor, was a mix of a blackish-gray color, and there was this really bright light behind the walls and ceiling that looked as if it was going to burst through at any moment. I have never seen anything like it. It is very hard to describe. I was all alone and it was so quiet I could have heard a pin drop. It seems like I was there for a very long time waiting. I began to wonder where I was and how did I get here. I look around, but there doesn't seem to be a way out, and there wasn't anyone there to ask. I realize that I don't have a body. I don't know how, but I just seem to be floating in midair. I am not scared. I am mostly just curious to find out where I am. I can see some movement in the distance. I can see a group of people in the far distance coming closer to me. When they get closer, I realize that they are angels. Suddenly, I am surrounded by at least a dozen angels. They are very short, maybe 4 feet tall and slender. They all have black shoulder-length hair and brown eyes. They are all wearing different colored gowns, some blue, red, pink, yellow, green, etc. Their faces are full of light. They stare at me. They look very stern. I would have been terrified, except their eyes were very kind and loving. We are able to communicate with each other without talking. They are able to read my thoughts and answer my questions before I even finish a thought. I am able to also partially read their mind when they answer my questions, but only what they let me see. I didn't think at the time that it was strange that I can communicate telepathically with them. It seemed perfectly natural. Only one angel talks to me. He seems to be in charge. The rest of the angels just look kindly at me with love in their eyes. Suddenly, I remember that I was in a car accident. I panic and wonder if I am dead. The angel tells me that I am not dead. He tells me not to be afraid. They are here to protect and take care of me. I am safe as long as I am with them, and they won't let anything bad happen to me. I can feel all of my anxiety completely melt away. I suddenly feel very safe, secure, and completely loved. I don't have a care in the world. I just feel so peaceful and happy that I wouldn't mind staying there forever. I ask the angel why I am here. We talk about the accident. I tell him that the car crashed into the barrier and ask him if I am going to die. He tells me that it hasn't been decided yet and that's why I'm here. This is a waiting area. He turns and walks away a few feet. He looks up at someone I can't see and begins talking to them, but I can't hear what he is saying. He talks for a long time and occasionally pauses 3 or 4 times to turn around and look at me for a moment before continuing his conversation. Meanwhile, one of the other angels stands next to me and talks to me while this is going on. He tells me the first angel was talking to God about my situation. It hadn't been decided if I was to remain here or go back. He tells me not to worry. As long as I am here, I am safe. The angels will protect me and take care of me. If I have to go back, I shouldn't worry. The angels are always with me and would always protect and help me even if I can't see them. I could talk to them and ask for help anytime. When I asked him if I could stay here with them, he told me that it wasn't up to the angels to decide this. It was up to him, he said, pointing at someone I couldn't see. We must always do what he wants because he knows what's best for us. I tell him that it feels like time has stopped and that I have been here for a very long time. The angel tells me that I am currently outside of time. When I ask him what he means, he tells me that the angels had to slow down time in order to save me. When I give him a look and ask him if he can do this, he nods and tells me that the angels can control time, temporarily slowing it down or speeding it up in order to do their job. He tells me that there is no time where we are, but if I go back, only a short time will have passed since the accident. The first angel comes back and tells me that it has been decided that I can't stay here but have to go back. I suddenly find myself back in the car. The paramedic is standing over me. He tells me that I was in an accident. He asks me how I feel and if I am in any pain. Then he puts me in the ambulance. This story was shared by Lisa R. and happened in July 2019.